How are we doing, guys? Good? Yeah, good. I'm going to not use the microphone as well, if that's okay. My name's Anthony Peluso. I'm the CEO and founder of Wealth for Life. Prashant, that was a fantastic presentation. It just reminds me, a few weeks before Christmas, I received a phone call from somebody looking to sell me some wine. I like wine, so they obviously did their homework on me. And I went through the conversation with the person, and I bought some wine. A few days later, I get a phone call from somebody doing a survey from the same company. And the call center operator did a good job. She spoke clearly. Understood what I wanted. Didn't hesitate with the communication. And I found out at the end of that phone call that I actually wasn't talking to a call center operator. I was actually talking to a computer based in Port Melbourne. So it just goes to show you the power of AI and how quickly it's encroaching on us right now. But actually, I couldn't tell the difference between a computer and another human being. That's how it works. So I just want to, commend you on that. And it's interesting because what I do at Wealth for Life, we help everyday Australians replace their working income with investment income. That's all we do. Okay? We use residential real estate as a tool to help people build wealth, but there's a lot of other things that we cover. With the use of technology such as AI, I can tell you that a lot of Australians, a lot of my clients, even a lot of my staff, are concerned about their jobs because it is moving very, very quickly. So when you've got computer systems that can call you and make a sale over the phone and sell you wine, that's something that 10 years ago none of us would have considered. So I'm always telling my clients and my staff, don't rely on your working income. The biggest mistake that Australians make is that they do nothing else but rely on their working income. So, my job as a CEO, as a founder, is to help my staff create wealth, but then also our clients, so they don't have to depend on a job. Because the biggest risk for an Australian employee today is that they only have one income stream. Can you agree?
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Jimmy. And then you say, okay. Fantastic. So, in relation to what I was just talking about, there's only 6 ways to create wealth. And just working 9 to 5 and nothing else, like one. Okay? Anybody been to tax lotto again? Anybody No, okay, neither have I. Anybody been lucky enough to marry into wealth? Hey, you can be done very well without pay. A lot of my lawyers tell me that. Becoming a superstar. Okay. If you're against Justin Bieber out there, then obviously quite well. But more traditionally, as Australians, we either start our own business, invest in real estate, or invest in the stock market. Okay, the more traditional ways of investing in the share market and real estate. So before we talk about wealth creation, we have to understand what wealth creation actually means. And every single individual has their own definition of wealth creation. Okay? What definition I've come up with, or two actually, how many days, weeks, or months could I live to the level of my dreams if I was to stop working? Okay? Now, this is a question I ask a lot of our clients, and unfortunately, not a lot of people like to answer this question. If I was to stop working today, how long would it take before I ran out of money? Okay? And I can tell you that the average Australian has 3 months worth of money before they run out of money. Now, as accountants here, you all have staff, correct? what I found in my studies is that the biggest form of financial illiteracy is the biggest form of disengagement in an organisation. Okay, so if you've got staff, if you've got employees that don't understand how money works, they're always going to have their attention on money. Okay, this is why you always find when you come to you for pay rises, you know, what I say to my staff is, don't come to me for a pay rise. It's not because I don't like you. It's not the smart thing to do. Okay, I give you an extra, $30,000. Half of that's going to go into tax. You're not going to see it, right? So do your calculations. You're better off coming to me and me helping you with equity into an investment property that grows every year and pays you every year. It's the continuous pay rise. Okay, I don't know why somebody would want to pay rise when they're going to see most of it going tax. So here's the average Australian. Okay, people working on that great Australian dream. This is our typical client. Okay, they're aged between 35 and 55, both work full time, have a decent household income, so they're doing quite well. 1 to 3 dependents. You know, they've got a nice car, nice home, they go on regular holidays, send their kids to a nice school, restaurants, good social life. You know, most Australians have got a mortgage on a home and a little bit of personal debt that they'd like to handle. Okay, the main aim for a lot of people, as I'm sure you're aware, is to pay off their own debt. Okay, as Australians, we feel like we haven't achieved that great Australian dream. If one, we don't buy our own home, but to pay off our own. But what we find is that very, very little planning goes into wealth creation. You know, for a lot of us, we're just so busy with life, 9 to 5. You know, so much of our decisions that we make are influenced by our cultural background, our upbringing, the media, and you know, we had very limited education and knowledge on creating wealth, but it's not something that was generally taught in school. I don't know about you guys, but I was never told how to balance a checkbook or how to get my money to work for me when I went to school. Right? And for a lot of us, Australians traditionally don't do very well at saving. Okay? And as I mentioned before, the greatest risk for most Australians is one form of income. I'd like sitting on a chair with one leg. Thank you. So here are some of the challenges that as Australians we go through. Right? You may be stuck, some of our clients may be stuck in a job that they don't like. You know, as we're getting older, we start to worry a little bit more about retirement and old age. We don't know what it brings. Okay? We're unable to look after our family financially. We're always busy with something, financial well-being, financial priority is anything but a priority for Australians. Okay? And it only becomes a priority when it's too late. Okay, that's what we generally find. Here's one of the things. The reason why a lot of people don't invest, be it in the share market, in a business, in real estate, is that they're actually afraid of making the wrong decision. Okay, when we surveyed, I think we surveyed like 1,500 clients of ours, and one thing that came up was they're afraid to make the wrong decision. Now, when you're afraid to, when you don't know what the right decision is, it shows that you have no knowledge in a particular subject that you're going to make a decision on. Right? Some of the other challenges that Australians face, they don't trust themselves or anyone else. They don't have enough money all the time. They don't know who to listen to. Right? There's so much information out there today. You've got that analysis paralysis. You do so much research to get to the end of the day, and you don't know who to listen to. Okay? Again, something always comes up, and then there's always the what ifs. What if I lose my job? What if my partner loses my job? What if the real estate market crashes? What if interest rates go up? What if I can't find a tenant? What if the stock market crashes? And there's all these scenarios that we run through our heads. So in the end, we end up doing. Okay, the state of the market. So, Australia, in Australia, real estate is such a popular pastime. As you can pick up Apple News or 90%, any day of the week, they've got to use something about the real estate market or interest rates. So, inflation, everybody knows obviously here what inflation is, okay, the devaluing of money over time. I want to talk about inflation. Currently sitting at about 7.8% as of last week. The Reserve Bank of Australia predicting that it will get to about 8%. Okay, now that's pretty much slowed down the real estate market because as a result of that, interest rates have gone up. So if we look at inflation, I think the average the rate right now is 3.1%. And the biggest increases in inflation, this is where it's really hurting a lot of Australians. Right? It's in the areas of travel, accommodation, electricity, groceries, and building new homes. Who's built a new home recently? Who's worked with a builder in the last 12 months? That can be pretty painful, right? Yeah, they're experiencing a lot of labour issues, supply chain challenges all around the world. The good builders, the big builders, the ones that know how to run a business, have come through it. Sadly, some of the medium-sized, smaller builders have gone under. So there's a bit of a risk right now if you're looking to build your own home, which is why established, already built real estate has gone through the roof. Okay, prices have gone through the roof because people don't want that risk of building their own home. Okay, look at the car industry. Try ordering a car today, you're waiting 12 months, 16 months for a brand new vehicle. So second-hand vehicles right now, prices have skyrocketed. Right? So consumer prices are rising the fastest that they have since 1990. So we are to some degree in unprecedented time. It's been 30, 32 years since we saw this kind of economy. I remember back in 2008 when we had the global financial crisis. But people aren't aware that the real estate market in Australia did quite well during that period of time. The way we're going right now, this is my own personal view. Like America is pretty much on the front door of a recession. I don't think our country, our government will let the country get into a large form of recession. Right now, what we need jobs. Okay. Are you guys as accountants, are you guys struggling for hiring new staff? Keeping existing staff? Yeah. Everywhere I go, whether it's the food industry, I was at a restaurant last night in St Kilda talking to the owner. And they had to scale down their operating hours in terms of when they're open because they can't get staff. So it's a very interesting time right now. My prediction is that next week or the week after, first Tuesday in February, they'll jack up the interest rates again, purely based on where inflation is. But the one thing I see that's going to knock inflation on its head, because this can be good and can be bad, is that there's about $478 billion worth of fixed loans that are going to come out of their fixed period over the next 12 months. So you're going to have consumers, homeowners, that are going to go from 1.9 to 2% interest rate fixed. That's going to hurt a lot of Australians. They'll actually hurt about 33% of Australians. Okay? 35% of Australians actually don't have a home loan. So you've also got to look at what the media tells you as well, because the media isn't always accurate or I don't like to tend to use the word honest, but they get it wrong. Okay, and then they're in the job of getting eyeballs and selling newspapers. And what I found in my 25 years of doing this, it's never as good as what the media tells you, and it's never as bad as what the media tells you. right? So it's always a waste of pace to go and observe yourself and to go and fix yourself. Okay. Based on some conversations I've had with some of the four major banks in Australia, CBA, I'm looking at interest rates dropping by July or August this year. Okay, you're not going to see them at that 2% level anymore. But once we get inflation under control, and our government does not want to send us into a recession, neither does the RBA, I'm predicting that interest rates will start to drop come July or August. Sorry, we are in 2023.
Yeah.
30 days in the rate. Thank you again. Okay, so one of the other factors that gives you an indication of where the real estate market is option clearance rates. Okay, that particular market back in 21, November 2021, you had option clearance rates in Melbourne and Sydney. When I talk about the real estate market, by the way, or when the media talks about the real estate market, they're really talking about Melbourne and Sydney. Okay. Option clearance rates back then were around 87%. And as you can see, just before Christmas, in Sydney and Melbourne, you had option clearance rates in there 61 to 63%. So this is great if you're a buyer, unfortunately bad if you're a seller. So that's a very good indication of where the market is right now based on performance rates. Where do I see the next 5 years? Okay. First of all, homeowners or owner-occupied drive the real estate market. Okay. Do we have any investors, real estate investors in here? Okay. You're good. So every time the government or the RBA makes a decision, it's really with having the mindset of the owner-occupier in mind. Okay. 70% of the houses in Australia are owned by owner-occupiers, 30% by investors. Okay. If you look at the government initiatives that they give to stimulate the market, it's always for owner-occupiers and never investors. Okay, whether it's a reduction in stamp duty, whether it's a builder boost to stimulate the market when COVID came in. This is why a lot of the builders are struggling right now. They took on more work that they could possibly handle or forecast during COVID, thanks to the government incentives. And they don't have the labour now to get those jobs out to site. So you're seeing some significant delays when it comes to building your own home. Okay. Immigration is coming back into Australia, so that will increase the demand as well. Companies like Lease and Multiplex have, I think, 10 to 15 years worth of projects in their pipeline. Right, so the industry is doing quite well. Okay, so the big guys certainly aren't. There's no shortage of work for them. There's lots of major projects in the pipeline, lots of infrastructure going in. Okay, that's always a very good indication of where the market's heading. Rents at the moment. If you've got investment properties right now, you find that the rental market is extremely high. Okay, vacancy rates in Melbourne and Sydney are sitting well under 1%. And as an organisation, we usually have 4 to 5 applications per property, and at any one time that we advertise a property for rent. Okay, so that's bad. And if you think about it as a consumer, it's getting hard to get into the market because of interest rates, right, and your repayments. And on the other hand, if you want to go rent, the competition is ridiculous. We've got some clients that at the higher end that have increased their rents by $100, $120 a week. So interesting times, but really good opportunities if you're an investor. Again, I'm expecting the market to turn around in 23, 24, based on my due diligence and the way that the rest of the world is heading and what the government and the RBA want to get to. If you're an investor today, or if you're looking to get into the real estate market, take advantage of the opportunities that are available out there. The smart investors right now are buying below market value. Okay, and don't expect that you're going to good real estate tends to hold its value quite well, with respect to the market, okay? But you can get some incredible opportunities out there, and rents are very, very strong. They take advantage of the terms and conditions. Vendors right now, depending on where you look, if there's markets within markets, vendors right now are struggling to do their real estate, so are developers. That's an opportunity for you guys. That's an opportunity to buy low. It's one of those things where, as Australians, when the market's too hot, we don't buy because it's too hot and we're waiting for it to come down. Oh no, prices are too high, I'm not going to buy, I'm just going to wait. And then when prices do come off a little bit, we still wait to see how far they're going to come. So we always keep missing it. Right? So my advice is just invest when you can. When you're in a financial position to do so, invest. Okay, do your maths, do your numbers correctly, work out your cash flow, anticipate interest rate increases, put buffers in place. In 25 years I've been doing this, we've seen this before. This is even going back to 1997, 1992. I remember my dad buying our second home, was paying 21% interest rates. Different economy back then, different, the average cost of living and our wages were a little bit different. 21% is 21%. So what we're going through right now as an economy, we'll go through again. The real estate market is cycling. Okay? Take advantage of the opportunities that are out there. The last thing you want to be doing is getting back into the market when it becomes popular. But when you read about it in the very sun of the age, that's when everybody jumps. All right? There's incredible room to negotiate today. All right? Now, what I think also our, people, I always pick up a headline that talks about the real estate market dropping by 20% or 30%. And, when I read those headlines, the thing I look at that, I think that the people writing that either, want some debate, want some attention, or really don't understand their economy. So if you look at the construction industry, it's the third biggest industry behind healthcare retail. And of course, as accountants, what's the government's biggest form of income? Tax. Right, so when you start to hurt the third biggest industry in Australia, you're going to lose a lot of employees. And to the government, that means a lot of taxpayers, translating a lot of income. So history tells us that when the market starts to become a bit of a concern, right, and jobs and employment are risk, the government tends to step in and stimulate the market. And there's many examples of that out there, especially over the last few years. If you remember what happened when COVID kicked in. Thanks, Richard. All right. So some information from the Australian Bureau of Statistics. Like I said earlier on, financial well-being or financial planning is really not something that a lot of Australians spend a lot of time on. Okay? You'll find that 94% of Australians, by the time they reach the age of 65, are actually living well below the poverty line. Okay? And then when he gets up in the morning and says to himself, hey, I plan to fail. Unfortunately, a lot of these people just fail to plan. All right? So this is the key thing we run into all the time. Okay? I was talking to a doctor in South Australia just before Christmas. And he locally told me that his tax bill was $284,000 that financial year. Also, told me that he was on his third marriage. So I kind of put the whole thing together. This guy just worked non-stop. Didn't even have time to think his accountants. So, just because your clients and your staff are doing well and earning great income, they're doing well financially. What we tend to do as Australians, when our incomes go up, our expenses tend to go up at the same rate. So our net worth in the middle tends to stay the same. So this notion of working 9 to 5, earning income, paying taxes, covering your expenses and saving what's left, it's never work. Okay, and earned income, as I say to my staff and our clients, income that you generate from work is the worst type of income because it's taxed so heavily. I know you guys do a great job for your clients, but 45% if you 30% tax on the corporation, that's a lot of money that you give away. All right, so I constantly tell my clients, if you just rely on your working income, I don't care what type of pay rise you get, you will struggle financially. So let's have a look at this. So at the age of 65, where will most Australians be? 54% of Australians, according to the Australian Bureau of Statistics, will be living on social security. Okay. 24% will be deceased. I'm not sure which one is worse, deceased or living on social security. 16% will still need to work. Only 5% are financially independent and 1% are what they call truly wealthy. So some of the things to consider. Your desired income, are you getting a pay rise each year? Are you factoring inflation into your planning? Because if you have a little bit of cost of living right now, it's becoming more and more expensive. So how are people going to fund their retirement? There's generally three ways. Number one, the pension. Number two, superannuation. And number three, investments. So I want to briefly just talk about investment. Okay. So cash. We've all got cash. We've all got money in the bank. Okay. Very low risk, but pretty much zero risk. Any money that you keep in the bank, as I'm sure you're well aware, even if you're earning 4%, which is different today, inflation gets into that, and then any interest you earn, you give away tax. Shares. We love shares. Very high risk. Very high risk if you don't know what you're doing, but incredible returns. And of course, number three, real estate investment. Low risk, considered safe, and very high returns. So what we focus on with our clients is real estate investment. Okay? And here's the thing. I actually tend to, ask and tell me, what are people meant to be doing today? Somebody's coming into this country or someone's looking to buy real estate. What do they need to do? And here's what I say to my people: don't go buying your own home. Okay, buying your own home makes absolutely no sense financially. It's a tool that banks use to play on your emotions and to give you that sense of security. But if you look at it, buying your own home does nothing more than take money out of your pocket. Every month, whether it's on a mortgage, whether it's on council rates, bills, there's always money coming out. If you're investing in real estate, if you do it properly, it does the exact opposite. It puts money in your pocket, and you have other people paying off the debt for you. Okay? Thanks, Luke. So one of the richest men in the world, Andrew Carnegie, said 90% of all millionaires become so through owning real estate. So these are the three areas that my organisation focuses on. Number one, when we work with a client, the first thing we do is to create a really solid foundation. Okay? And by client foundation, I mean things like purchasing entities. We look at risk management. We look at what actually can go wrong, and not obviously put things in place to prevent that. Legal structures. Does somebody purchase within a trust, within a corporation, within a self-managed super fund? Okay. How do we protect one's assets? Okay. How do we then pass them down to the next generation? Okay. That's obviously tax legalization, tax structuring. Then we get to the accumulation phase where we start to accumulate the assets. Okay? We work out a plan at the start. And the first thing we do, if you come to see me, or a client comes and sees me, the first thing we do is we look at an exit strategy. Okay, don't invest in real estate if you don't understand why. Okay, there needs to be a way to measure if what you're doing is successful. Too many people just go out and buy real estate because everybody else is doing it. You need to measure if what you're doing is successful. Have an exit strategy. Okay, know when you've reached your goal and know how to exit. Okay, so the three things we focus on. Number one, cash flow. So your real estate needs to have really, really good cash flow. Number two, location. You've heard the saying location, location, location. It is true. Okay, people these days pay a premium for convenience. Okay, now Prashant touched upon it before with Uber, Alibaba, Borders, all those bookstores gone. People click a button right there, it gets delivered to you. Look at Uber. Right? There's a classic definition of people paying a premium for convenience. Okay? And people, when they're moving into a home, they want the same thing. They don't want to travel a long distance to get their necessities. So number one, strong cash flow. Number two, location. And number three, you must have an exit strategy. And we determine all of that up front. Okay? Thanks, Georgina. I won't spend too much time on this. I think I've got my time is up. Can you give me another minute? There's a few clients of ours that have done very, very well. This lovely couple here are now generating a passive income of $200,000 per year for the rest of their life. And when they started, they weren't on big incomes. There's nothing flashy about them. They just found out a way to get their money to work. Okay, thanks, Georgina. Here's another lovely couple here, managed to pay off the mortgage on their home in 3 years. Okay, they were looking at paying off their mortgage in 17 years before they came into us. We wanted to pay off their mortgage in 3 years. They sold their home, moved to a better location to send their young boy, Rocco, to a big school. Thank you. Here's another lovely couple, one of my first clients, on an income just they're right on $100,000 a year right now, got 11 investment properties, and will retire on $150,000 per annum passive income. Okay. Now here's a great couple here. This couple here in Sawbies, the wife, Lisa, had about $350,000 in superannuation. Okay, came and saw me. We bought about $1 million worth of real estate in 4 years. That real estate turned into $3 million. Became a millionaire in 4 years. Where they're employed as a superannuation fund, we can do that in 20 years. Okay. Thanks for doing this one. Just close to the time here, I'll respect the time that I've got available here, so I'll have my presentation here. If any of you would like to have a chat to me regarding my company, Walk for Life, and what we do, I'm going to hang around for the rest of the day and listen to the presentations coming up. I'd like to thank Asha and the team here for inviting me to speak at this stage. And I thank you all very, very much.